You also want a ruler, or sometimes you can get away with just a straight edge. A straight edge is like anything, like the side of a book to make like straight lines. But you know, a ruler will help you like make parallel lines and make them like super even and make what's called like the gutter in the comic. So you also can use watercolors. Watercolors. This is a beautiful paper. This has like bumpy pages. You can use small, like finer pages. It would be called cold press is for like the bumpy pages. Hot press is for the smooth pages. And you can do your comic in watercolor. Painted pages actually even like cost a little more. So like remember to base, if you're doing it professionally, base your charges on that. Or you can do your cover in watercolor too. You can do just the cover because that can be more complicated. Inside you want to keep it a little more simple because you're going to be making like a lot of drawings. I made like almost 50 drawings that made it to the comic for the 7-page interior comic for the census. So, you know, you're going to be doing a lot of them. You can also, you know, ink with a brush, a small brush, which is a very fine one, number 1, and use speedball ink as well. You can color before, you might want to use waterproof. You can color before or after. A lot of people color, place the color in after the inking. So you can also use computer, the digital or digital hybrid and traditional hybrid. So the computer, you can use Photoshop. You can pencil everything first, but you can use Photoshop to color. You can even ink in traditional media, and then you can use it on Photoshop. So we have, let's see. We also want to make sure that, but actually, let me tell you about one program that I use that I found very, very easy for creating comics. Clip Studio Paint. Clip Studio Paint has like Procreate. If you're using an iPad, like you can directly work on it, but you can also use it on the computer, on your desktop. You could use it with a Wacom tablet, you know, and you'd have like a stylus. This is the iPencil. I use it with my iPad. You can use basically both, and on the same comic or either or, and you'll have a really nice result. I do believe in the penciling just has to be done like by hand for me, but it's really up to you. A lot of like younger people do their penciling right onto the final. So that's great too. But I inked on the computer. Some people just have to ink. That all gets scanned in and then reproduced in the digital world. You can use, there's a step called modeling where you can use like either clay or even a 3D program to create each character after your concept sketch. Your concept sketch would be your character sketches, which we'll go over. Because we're going to be doing like 2 things, a world building worksheet and a character worksheet. And those things will tell you a lot about your character. You can, the reason I say you can make a 3D sculpture of it, or draw the character from a few different ways, because you're going to be repeating that character, especially the characters that repeat. If the character's going to show up once, don't worry about it. But if you're doing the character, do them from a few angles so they're recognizable throughout your comic. So let's see if we can go to our world building document. I'm going to be sharing this screen. Oh, okay. So like Procreate, um, Clip Studio actually costs a little, but Clip Studio does work really well. Um, Clip Studio is similar. It has Procreate features in it. You can draw like in Procreate, but you also have all these features that have you lay out a comic book page, and you can do bubbles and balloons in it for speech and everything. So what you would first want to do is like answer these wonderfully detailed questions of like world building. Name a universe with multiple worlds, or with the real worlds, name it. You know, you can name that after you finish the sheet, because maybe you'll come up with ideas. General, what brings people in your world joy? What do they wear? What foods do they eat? How many inhabitants are there? How many, you know, is it the past, present, future? Is there time traveling? Is, you know, then we have like the elements, like what's the weather like? What are the hobbies people have? What are the animals? Um, what do the rooms look like? You know, then there's also like the details you may want to fill in, like, you know, what does the main character's home look like? That could be something that's always in it. So you want to really describe that. Describing all these things, it would be really helpful. Like one of my students, like, did everything was underwater. So she described how everything worked underwater first. She was an incredible world builder. Building a world will help you know what you want to do for your characters. I know a lot of you want to like create characters, but some of you just are fantastic world builders. This feeds into you creating a phenomenal character, or many phenomenal characters, like Star Wars. Star Wars Day is coming up too, everyone. So Star Wars, how many worlds are there? Tatooine. When I saw Tatooine, I fell in love with this desert land. Why would I fall in love with the desert land? It was just so well done and thought of. And the complaining that the characters did about like being from the farthest, from the bright center of the universe. And it really put me there and it engaged me. So that's what you want to do when you create your worlds. So we have this character breakdown. So we have something called a protagonist. A protagonist is the hero. The hero can be like a Superman, or the hero can be you. You know, the hero can be an everyday person. The hero can be a dog, you know, like Clifford, the angry red dog. Not the angry red, oh my goodness, I loved Clifford. He's not angry. He's a big red dog. So, you know, you can have Charlie Brown. You can have so many different heroes. Charlie Brown may be kind of an anti-hero because he's like mopey. That's usually what they call when it's not like a hero that's like a Superman. Like everything is like, wow. You know, like they do everything perfectly correct. The anti-hero has flaws. Sometimes people put like a kind of villain. Mr. Mustache was a anti-hero that one of my students created. Very like colorful, like just hilarious. You know, she did it as a comedy. The antagonist is a villain or opponent. So basically whoever annoys the protagonist. This is going to be extremely important in your story writing, because you need something to happen, right? And it's usually when that antagonist comes in, makes the protagonist do something and moves your story along. So what brings them joy? So they're, you know, what first you circle one, take as many character sheets as you want, just print it out as many as you want, and just, or if, you know, you want to just keep it uploaded and just write the answers, just go through it. It really helps. What brings them joy? What's their favorite color? What's their favorite food? Animal, all of this. What do they hate? This is gonna be important for a trigger. You know, triggers their anger. They might get mad at something. They may hate fighting. Someone fights and they're like, we have to stop this. you know, and they'll figure out how, and that's going to be your story. Like you can have, I'll take you through the story arc, but here we go. So flaws, you know, what are their bad habits? These things are important. Don't make them have no bad habits, because that's where the story is. One of my stories, the person was, that I read, the person was a gambler, and he gambled away his kingdom. And that's how the whole story, that's how action happened, and that's how morals were learned, and that's how adventure occurred. So physical traits, what do they look like? And you talk about that. Um, who are their closest friends? You know, all of this. You'll get these 2 sheets. Draw a picture of the character. So you draw a basic picture of the character. For the world, you could have drawn like a map if you wanted to. So draw a picture. So this could be the beginning of your concept sketches. So concept, what is the concept of your story? What is the concept of just the person? Just anything, start drawing. The ideas of this came from a wonderful book, Draw with Jazza. In comics, this is such a vast topic that there's so many people we learn from. I learn from people. I'll be one of the people you learn from. So there's wonderful sources out there for this, and I'll name some. So Draw with Jazza is a great one. So that worksheet I kind of gathered and made together to help. Let's see. Yeah, because he doesn't have a worksheet. He has questions, but sometimes that helps to just have the line there to like plug it in. So you know, it's collaborative effort to teach people how to make comics. It's an incredibly important skill. So let's see, we're up to let's see, story arc. I'm gonna do, sorry, I'm just making sure I have everything done. All right, well, yes, here we go. Flip this over. So I'm just gonna like backtrack a little bit, all right? But it's not gonna be a lot. This is just to add content to your stories. See, these are all these wonderful, this is a matte graining cartoon. Look at how he's drawing. You really don't have to be a super skilled drawer to get your thoughts out. So if that's not going to be your strength, you don't have to make it, or you can have someone else draw for you, or you can take classes and become a better drawer and be your own illustrator. Writing and drawing your comic will make you a comic creator. Often comics are done in teams where someone is doing the penciling, someone is doing the inking, someone is doing the coloring, someone else is doing the cover, and someone else is doing the writing in the first place. The writing would go first. We recognize this. Some of us, the comic strip is the peanuts. You can actually just have like 4 panels. You can even have 3 panels if you want for your comic, as long as you have like a little arc going. Head beagle. That stupid dog can't be the head beagle. He'll bring ruination upon the country. He'll destroy us all. He's inept. He's incompetent. He's the dog. How can I prepare my acceptance speech with all that shouting going on? So yeah, so this is the world we have of Peanuts of Charles Schulz, incredibly influential comic. So I love this one. Just hardly any words, but the leaf falling down, sigh. Nobody's happy where they are. You know, he's like kind of like an anti-hero type person too, but like, you know, he's talking about this, just his leaf falling, and saying something very philosophical. So it's really the thoughts that are in your comic that make a huge difference. With Matt Groening, I just love this How to Annoy People. This is like a satire and stuff. How to annoy artists, how to annoy writers. Then it's comes to cartoonists and says, it is unwise to annoy a cartoonist. So that is also your power when you become a comic artist. Far Side, they have, this is a one panel comic. It's not sequential art. You just do it in one. Um, let's see, like the New Yorker cartoons. I just hope in the future, I hope people in the future are like, what the heck are these things? So this is the Stonehenge, you know, which is what we wonder about. And what if the people were hoping that for that? So it's kind of out there thought. Like I said, we have these wonderful heroines now. The modern heroine, she used to be, you know, be saved a lot, but we're moving towards, you know, really, really powerful women, and also like, you know, even like the clothing is not as revealing all the time anymore, and it's, you know, great. It's not about only that. So like we have, oh, you gained a pound, saying something about her weight, maybe. Said, she said it must be, it's brain matter. I read a book. So she just quipped back at her. So, you know, and here's Miss Marvel, you know, holding up the American flag as a Muslim, and you know, trying to like understand the complexity of our world a little more realistic, not these enemies and all of this that are maybe robots and all of that. But you know, it's really how you want, it's really how you want to make your comic. That's your vision. The biggest thing is that the comic is your vision, and notice that there's so many ways to do this. This is the Star Wars, I call it. It's any D&D players alignment charts. You know, there could be someone who's lawful, follows the law very well, someone who's neutral, makes up their own mind, someone's chaotic, who the law doesn't even like, they don't even like think about it. They can be good, they can be neutral in general, they can be evil, like maybe lawful evil, like Darth Vader. So then we have someone who's like chaotic evil, like the Joker, like we don't know what he's doing. Like this is in the superheroes. You can have Superman who's lawful good, or Captain America who's lawful good. So even in your heroes, your protagonists and villains, you can understand differences within the type of hero someone is. So think about that for your characters. So then there's anime as well. I'm sorry, I can't tell you much about the anime because I'm not watching them, but same as you probably don't know every single comic, and you don't need to know what calls to you. These were the ones that called to me over here. And they were like mythology or religious comics, whichever way people want to look at it. This is done in the Golden Age style, like the panels. A Watchmen was also done in the Golden Age style. And I did a presentation of the Hindu Texas superheroes, because, you know, we kind of have in our superhero lore something very similar to like the polytheistic, like multiple god religions of Hindu culture. So I think it's like wonderful, like you people relate to something or the other, and look to them for like guidance for ethics. So yeah, I think it's very interesting. So this is a cover with Superman against Lex Luthor. You know, look at that dynamic cover. That's why there's a lot of action that's placed in it. You know, you can always do an exercise where you like make yourself a villain or make yourself a superhero and like talk about your backstory. A lot of writing is a good idea. Now here is your story arc. So I will be writing on this later, but like you basically can have an act 1, act 2, act 3, and you can establish routine. It could be anything like, you know, like a zombie story, like there's like, you know, everything is gray and like, you know, there's someone bites the zombie, well, bites the human's arm, and that's inciting incident or trigger. And we, you know, go into like everything happens. The person's looking, you know, uh, looking to like find their friends, you know, because they have something like the antidote, and that's the climax that they find the friends, they get the antidote, and then everything gets solved. So that's like a lot of zombie stories. This, you can write your script in this way. This is from SCAD. This is college, Savannah College of Art and Design. They created this book for script writing for comics, and you know, you can have the title of story, writer's name, you can have page 1, panel 1, all of this. But it's really good to, while you're writing the script, kind of also draw it out, see how the panels are made tiny in those thumbnails that I showed you. These is the storyboarding. You basically go page 1 and 2, they're facing each other. Page 3 and 4, they're facing each other. And you want to make those panels look good together. Like, how does that look good together? I recommend even doing this in color pencil so you can work out your colors. Remember to put your bubbles in too, because the bubble flow, the panel flow all has to work. It has to work from left to right, top to bottom, and read that way. You want to put it first. You put the left stuff first, the top stuff first, so that people know what order to read your panels and what order to read your bubbles. Of course, in manga, it's the other way. So right to left, so back to front even. So Western comics would be that way. Visual storytelling, panel shapes. You can have all different types of panel shapes here. So, you know, you have one for like the onomatopoeias, the sound effects, splat, this, all of that here. Look at that. Remember that? I mean, you can even put a picture in there and make it a different kind of shape. Put a picture. You can have someone outside of a shape too, somewhere in between. You can have layered panels. Okay, so this is from Making Comics. So this Scott McCloud, incredibly important book. This is visual storytelling, panel to panel. When you have a closure, look at these. It might just be moment to moment. Someone just may open their eyes. This is the gutter in between. In between, that's where everything, the action happens. In your own mind, the artist draws. Wham! This is action to action, moment to moment. Just a little bit of time passed. Action to action. A new action has happened. Sorry about that. Subject to subject. Okay, so you see it changes to subject. It's first someone who's running, and then it's the timer. But look how these are all linked in your head. They're going to be linked, and you complete the action in the middle, in that space between panels, which is called the gutter. That's actually an incredibly important space that we make up what's going on. Scene to scene. He can't outrun us forever. 10 years later, there's a house. We assume it's the person he's looking for. Okay, so we want to use that. Aspect to aspect. Now there's stuff all on the thing. You've assumed that this couple has been using what's on the table. Then we have a non sequitur. Aspect to aspect also means just whatever's around the room. You basically look around the room. Non sequitur, they seem like nothing, they have nothing in common, and they kind of don't, but gives an impression in someone's mind. This is more used in Eastern comics than Western. So visual storytelling, timing, and panels. Look at this. So do you think the socks could finally do it this year? 3 panels go by, I guess. Wow, it got timed. You added that pause, and a long one. You can add the pause by increasing the space between panels, I guess. You can add the pause by making a long panel, I guess. Okay, so we have drawing your characters too. So we'll go over some of that as well. Look at this. This is the modeling. See, it's from different angles. Sometimes you might need a top too. It depends on your script, because you can have aerial views looking down on your characters. Tops of heads, you need to see what their nose looks like from above. Here's from behind. Look here. Skin, eyes. A CMYK is a type of numbering that's in printing. It standardizes the colors. Okay. So even the colors are written down. She has it as well. The multiple views helps with consistency. Even you would want like shapes of them. Here's some hands as well. All right. Hands tell a story as well. I'm going to open it up for questions. Actually, maybe Nicole, if you don't mind, I might want to open it up for questions a little bit before the demo so that I can get exactly what they want to see. This is perspective. One point perspective is, you know, they just put 1 point and everything converges over there. This is 2-point perspective. What actually is real is, says 3-point, but it's actually 4-point. If it's above the line, and there's also below the line. Aerial views, that's below your horizon line here. And something that's above is above the horizon line. So really, the world has 4 points and you're drawing everything in between. And this really helps with settings. Superman sees that, right? So this, you know what? You find that doing comics, you'll get really, if you start drawing them too, you'll get really good at writing, you get really good at art, you get good at design too, layout. And layout really is great for your composition, which is also good for fine art. So you'll really just learn so much about these incredibly strong art fields that you can go into anything. Like if you're young and you're looking to go into a career, you can go into writing, you can go into design, you can go into fine art, you can go into making the whole comic. All of this can be taken and you can pitch your comic to movies, to films. They're using comics all the time for films now, not just superhero films. But you know, it's like storyboarding. Like they want to see, storyboarding's a big one. They want to see how the film, each film has that. Every scene is like planned out, and you would be able to do that. You would be able to show your comic saying, this is how a film, small version of what your big budget film would look like. The money may not be, huge money may not be in comics so much right now, but it's usually in the intellectual property, meaning your ideas. And that's what you copyright. You copyright your ideas. And then you can sell them to try to go into media and all of that. But we'll look, the world is always changing. So comics might, you know, web comics might actually be a big thing right now. So you might want to use your computers and make comics and put them up on the web. But whatever it is, like even if it's done for free now, like the intellectual property, your ideas are what's important and what's valuable, what's yours. And that's, if you go into career, that's what you would be selling. So you have covers where one is a concept cover, concept covers, it could be a circle, it could be a dot, it could be, it could just be like, oh, what's in that book? Or it could be something like right from the comic, something like this, and you just make it bigger, and I made that in watercolor. I made a big painting for the cover, for like a cover. And you can also do, when I show you count, you can do just a bunch of characters from the comic and then the title. So we'll this off now, and we'll switch to questions, I think. 1 second. I'm just going to check on this. Oh, Siri. Siri just interrupted for a minute. So let's see. I'm going to go to mistakes, but they basically make you do drafts, So why don't we, we're going to switch to, because we're doing the character breakdown, I'm going to show them how to start with, do the character breakdown. Okay. Do the character for the character breakdown. Is that okay? We can switch to the iPhone now. The iPhone.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so let me make sure the iPhone is, its screen is working. Okay, because it's actually showing the other. So what I do is, all right, so video. All right, great. So now you see, okay, so this is, I'm going to take out the render paper because it's beautiful to work on. So my character breakdown is in the screen, it seems like. Do I do a, oh, I do a stop share. That's what I have to do.
Yeah, if you want that off now. Okay, yeah. So now
Okay, so now, all right. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Yeah. You can take, like I said, any pencil. You can take a pencil like this. That's what I did my comic with. You can take an artist pencil. It's a very light one, a 6H. I'm going to use, actually, even though like a 4H or something is nice to start to draw with because you won't see the lines so much, it'd be easier to erase. I'm going to use like a 4B, which is actually harder to erase. It's a softer pencil and a more mark comes off on it. Why I'm going to use that is so that you can see it. And we decided that if we do, it's going to be figure or body because it's it might be difficult to see, but I got an extra light, so that might help. Did you want me to do figure or head? I forgot first.
In your outline, it says young adult facial proportions. Do you want to go by that?
Proportions first. Okay, let's all right, so that shows everything. All right, so we have this, okay, in the Peanuts, that could be the head, right? But if you're going to be doing something a little more realistic, we're actually making that the skull. That's like how you're like kind of shaping the skull. Then like 1/8 of the way down, you want to maybe make an oval. This oval is going to influence the length of the face. You end up with more like a light bulb shape all around. And that light bulb shape is really going to be better for what a head, the skull of a realistic head looks like. Knowing realism is really good. When you're a cartoonist, you can like study life drawing, realistic things, and you'll really improve your cartooning because your expressions will get so great from that. So look, I'm going to do a midline, right? And that. So we get to know where everything is centered. And I want to go halfway between these two. That looks too high to me. How I'm going to measure it is pinch here and here. Look, this is going past it. So however long past it that is, halfway, like that little amount, I'm going to go to here. That would make it half. This is a quick way to measure. See, look, perfect. These are little cheats like I like to teach people to just make your life not as difficult with, you know, these things, you know. I also made like a formula that's easy to remember for this, for illustrated heads. So like we want to go, eyes are usually one eye width apart, but how big are the eyes? Well, we want to kind of imagine that there's 5 eyes going across. So the eye bigness of the eyes are more like from here to here. There's 5 eyes. Nicola, is am I being clear? Like you can hear everything clearly and everything?
I can hear you just fine. If anyone is having, I made you're drawing the whole screen right now so everyone can get a really clear look. But if anyone is having any issues, you know, put it in the chat box and I can do my best to, you know, play around and make sure you can see and hear her fine. But I can hear you okay.
Perfect, perfect, yes. Okay, so yeah, because sometimes when I'm drawing, I might go a little bit into my head with it. But yeah, because like it gets like that. Drawing is like wonderful, and you get into like a, you know, a zone, and it's you know, you're creating something. So even there, that kind of looks like 3PO to me. Okay, so Star Wars is my fandom. I think you guys have guessed. So so already we have that, and then we want to have like halfway between this and this, I'm going to kind of make another line. Too high. Make it over there. Perfect. Okay. So let's see, you know, what this will create for us. Oh, look at that. We have ears that go right there. So this half let's see, something else goes here. Nose and ear. Okay, so we have these 2 small bubbles on the side, a bubble this way. All right, so this half, oops, eye. So look at that. See? Now we have another half here. A little high, but it's okay. The lips can be a little higher. We can do a half for the lips. Half, half. Bubble, 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 long bubbles here. And this can go all the way to the middle of this eye. So it could be a line. And the brows go a little bit above. Tends to be, I guess, they say a little more masculine brow is lower, a little bit more feminine brow is higher. We know people all look different. You know, you make it the way you want. You can make huge eyes, you can make this. This is a good thing to like start with. And then like the neck starts about over here. You know, it's holding up an 8-pound head. Oops, we want to also put like this extra here, a nice chin. All right. And then these are actually, this comes from behind the neck. All right, look, it's starting the traps. And then you have shoulder muscles go over there. You have the clavicles. Adam's apple or no Adam's apple, it depends on that. Actually, boys have Adam's apples, and so you would put them in more like for that, or you can leave it without. So I'll make a hybrid person. Hairline can go about over here. It depends on what the hairstyle is, right? So let's say put something like this. So you have something here. This you want maybe like a triangle. See, these shoulders look too narrow to me. You almost want what I would call an equilateral triangle.
I think your phone stopped sharing. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, someone was calling in, so I them. So I think I have to put like a do not disturb. I'm sorry, I didn't have that. So this would be, you go like this and all equal sides. That kind of like helps figure out where that shoulder is. So you want to maybe broaden that. So this, and you can make it narrower or wider. It depends on what you want, right? Some people, you know, everyone is shaped differently. I made this one a little bit too wide, but and you put your eyes in here. Here we go. Lids, eyelids. Eyebrows. See, as you're outlining all this, what I can do now to make it even more clear I'm going to outline this whole head. Kind of make a little bit of a square jaw. Put this, double this. This should have you off and running to be able to draw a head. Okay. We have this. All right, and if you want to ink it, the brush, I would like to use a brush. It takes a while to dry though, so I can't really put marker on it. But the brush you can see better. See? And I can do various lines. Look at that tip. Can make it thin, thick. Yeah, so like basically I can work with kids and adults who do manga to create stories and stuff. And as well as drawing, So remember, like you want different opinions anyway and different um different points of views, because you can make like a really interesting thing. One of my students, Mr. Mustache, I spoke about Mr. Mustache, that can actually do a t-shirt like that, you know, was a manga, with black and white drawing inside, color cover, all of that. So I've worked on mangas with students before. So here's this. We just basically work with your style and your project. That's what really matters. As a teacher, you don't just, well, it actually depends. You can always go to a teacher specifically for their style or the style that they want to teach, or there's some teachers who um, work specifically with each student. I'm more along those lines. So I like to put that double line in there for the eye. It's still called a waterline. We'll put a bag under it too. The nostrils. We'll put we have that, right? It's actually, you want to, find like a simple method like that so that you can create quickly and easily and more realistically. I know like a lot of people don't really even realize that the eyes are midway down in the head. This was half, remember? Well, I actually added a little bit with the chin, but it's like half. That's why I'm like kind of adding a little more with the hair. It looks more realistic when you have the eyes halfway down the head. So you need like little tips like that. If I want to, let me see if I can add some marker to it. What I would have to do is erase, like say, a section of, say I can add marker to this. It can be really bad if it's still wet. Because then even with the erasing, it like will smear. So this type of drawing is really important. Like even when you're doing Procreate and stuff, like you'll be able to like put stuff down really easy, you know? Yeah, Procreate is definitely like a nice one to work with. But yeah, Clip Studio is like a combination of Procreate and Photoshop. It's really good. It's a subscription though, $9 on an iPad, and you do have to buy it for the computer. But I really enjoyed it and what it could do. So if I'm thinking this is an alcohol-based marker. Oh, I like to test it first. Do you like that color? Oh, it's gonna lighten up. It's gonna lighten up, but test your markers because you should write down the number. Test your markers first. That looks dark. It's not going to be as dark because it lightens as it dries. Y900, like that. So maybe for the shadows I use very dark. You can use that for the hair or the eyes. Y934, Y934. So you want to standardize like that, you know, look at this, put that in here. Maybe work that through here. I'm going to leave some area for shine in his hair. Your strokes help define what the person's like, what the surface is like. If you want to not leave any streaks, work quickly with the marker like this. So then it takes out chance of a streak. And it's easier to blend if you're going to be blending. So the alcohol dries faster than water, you know. Yeah. So you want to be quick. So I'm actually going to even put that in for the lips a bit, but I'm going to, hold on, I didn't write. It's R213. I'm gonna go in quick with this. Just put in a little bit there, and then you will see like more whip if you cover this up. See, then you can see what the complete looks like. With this, it makes it look too dark, but you basically, once it's all covered, you can see the cartoon that will be created from it. So let's see what the, okay. So now I will, you know, I was gonna put also, when you have your concept sketches done, you know, you want your layout pages like this. This is 1-to-1. I worked 1-to-1 with the U count. With this, since they weren't as since this wasn't as long, those pages, I actually cut it short. Like that, because they're wider, you know, not lengthy. And like, let's say I was the concept sketch, I mean the comic book layout page for this page, it was on the left side up here. It looked like this. Super simple. that I can put more, it was longer here, so I have this. See, you make it like this because you can correct easily. And then the person was sitting here, you know, those are the paneling. Look how scrappy that is. You put in some notes here, what page it is, like there. You can write your name in. This is just for you. These are your notes, right? Let's say I have like, let's say I'm doing this page on this side. There were people sitting here. Put that in. The numbers were over here to call. So this is very important to have done, your layouts. So you want to balance that layout, make it really look good, especially when it's going to open like that. So there, it goes that way. When you open your book, it's like that. If it's a black and white, you would make it work with black and white values. If it's color, that's what I'm saying, color pencil might be good to kind of block that out too. Write your notes for this one here. Remember, even your bubbles, you may want to like have that already in here to make sure that's all planned out. It'll save you a lot of time for later. Like, and this can be a big process, so you want to do that. So here, like I even say, like with you can look at layouts that are in here, you know, like simple layout like that, right? Something with a lot more space. Look at layouts that you like, you know, a lot more space there. Be creative. That's David. Webcomics. Webcomics. With the webcomic, you don't necessarily have to make it work like on both. I do both because you can always have a print comic and a web comic that way. Let's see. And there is also the story arc. When you fill out your story arcs, you can fill it out right on here. Start it out. And you fill out your story arc, do that. Do this type of thing first. You know, gray town, one man searching for food, you know, like then zombie bites, you know, finding friends found antidote, celebration, like that. Okay, and then you like fill it out on that layout sheet. So when you get home, you can well, you're, you know, home, or you want to take this outside, like print it out and take it outside, you know, in a park or something, and you can, or in your backyard, you can do it there too. I know it's a nice day. So we also have just one more thing, and I'll just go over it very quickly. Let's see. Okay, so this is how everything was done. These were some concept sketches that had to completely change because she mixed up the pages when she mailed them to me. She was away. So I even took, this is called reference. See, I just went on the internet and found people to help. Look at that outfit. I got it from her, you know, to help. I'm thinking like of Sofia Vergara, this movie star for her. This look, I thought he could stand that way. And I thought about Gael Garcia Bernal. I don't know if you know him, but I put his head on him. And this kid, he just reminded me actually of one of my kids in my class, Andrew. I don't know if he's here. He's one, and it's a combination between another kid too. And then we came up with her finally for Mrs. Murphy. She went through a few incarnations. So you can either do it by computer, like the ink, like that, and like just do a program where you turn them to ink. I took reference photos of everywhere in the library. So I personally went and took pictures. And I figured out how big everything was because we wanted that setting. Okay, for some reason it's not, okay. Here's, you know, this is how, this is also Medibang. If any of you use Medibang, I actually did my panels on that. So I just was doing simple stuff, like see how they are together on my mini drafting table. So here's all the panel work. In order, that's the characters and the panel work together. This is actually taken at Middle Country Public Library. So if you may guess the room, it's the underground. Yay. So that's all the characters that were there. And this is after filling them by computer and then pasting them into the rooms. So you can do collage work like that. Or here, you can draw the whole thing like below. So that's the first layout. Drawing till my TV subscription thing's almost unconscious. Yeah, that happened to me because I basically had my TV on while I was working, keep me company. These are all hand-drawn watercolors for a card game I was doing, and then a book. So like I said, these take a lot longer per picture. So remember to charge accordingly if you're doing that. These are sculptures that I did in a program called Sculpture on the iPad. You can also hand sculpture. These are 3D, did my characters that way. Sinead O'Connor, I kind of used her for the librarian. There's me watching TV while I'm doing this. So this really helped in putting together all these pages and all the various ways that you see these characters. Okay, it's a little bit stuck. I don't know why. All right, here. All the various ways I see these characters. That way it's continuous. See, and these are the scans, and then I took better scans of them. And then this is how I went through my pages. I did a black and white cover mock-up first, different trials. These are all done in black and white because this was going to be in black and white first. If you're sending it out, you can put a proof on it. You don't want people to take your work without, if they said that they were going to pay for it, then you need to have a proof copy. This is done in color because I decided I wanted that cover color. It's all going to look darker against white. Once you put them in a setting, you'll see what happens. This was my first, this is outlining of the title and everything. That was the first blue for my background. It didn't work. Also the transition wasn't right. See, notice that there's a lot of versions you take. This is even details of the drawings I was doing in the comic. And I'm taking these characters, turning them color, and I'm going to be putting them on the cover. And I had to go in and correct all the wheelchairs because I put a transport wheelchair in instead of an independent wheelchair for a person who's disabled. So I went in and corrected that as well. So that I created a more involved character for the cover. You can do that. Like these characters inside are more simple. See, this is close to the final one. But yeah, this is more the cover. Yeah. So I actually dropped, they were so little that I actually dropped them in. I made a big ones and then dropped them in the computer. So this is done through the computer. So this can be another type of instructional at some point, but like, see all of these, look at the direction they're facing. This is the back of her, but we still recognize it's her. The mom, just a librarian. The librarian takes off her glasses. What does she look like there? Here's information. This is an informational comic. Information is extremely important. She's hugging her dad. The resolution. See, all of it followed a resolution. That's my cartooning character. Skinny fingers. Yeah, I like always turn into this. I try to wear other things. I try to do my hair another way, but no. I go back. So, all right. So this is like more of the same. Here's the Spanish version. I was able to go in and edit all of this and also redo things to change the language. Now we were going to do like 13 languages. It just all changed according to what happened in the world. And realistically, that's how flexible we have to be. Things change and we roll with it and do the best we can. So this is single pages. So in single pages, that could be for the internet. Single pages. Okay, and this is more clear. This is the all-important comic book layout page. Please do these. Plan your comic. It will change you because you will finish your comic if you plan it. Okay, I am done with the presentation. If people have any more questions, I can certainly answer. You want to remember to copyright. There's like a few ways to copyright, but once you do your work, it is copyrighted. An artist's work is theirs, but you can put the C. You can, on a computer, you can press parentheses, the open parentheses, C, then close parentheses, and it does the copyright symbol, or you could pull it in. And copyright, and then your name, the year, and you can, all rights to, and all of that. You just take a book and you see what it says. But there's also like costs. You can trademark things. You can do it financially too, but things like intellectual property lawyers and stuff, they're expensive. So there is a certain trust thing that happens for a while. But if you do that now, at least you'll have a leg to stand on when you get famous. And
thank you, Anu. All right, yeah, so if you have questions, we can go, another couple minutes for some questions. Again, this was recorded, so we're gonna put it up on YouTube and also link it to our Facebook page. And the character breakdown, the world building, the story arc, and this page that you're looking at right now, the comic book layout page, are all going to be available on our website for you guys to download and then, use at home when you guys are creating your own comic books, which is very exciting. All right, let's see what our question. Okay, so Ethan asked, who is Jazza? Because you mentioned Draw with Jazza. Is that
he's a YouTube personality, as well as as he creates he has a book. So Draw with Jazza, and Ethan, you do anime, right? Like, I think he has some anime style. There's books specifically that you can get to get that anime style drawing, because that's a specific proportions and stuff. So you can work with that. Me, I'm really more about like doing that start to finish thing. Jazza is more about drawing the characters. And Jazza did what I learned from him was that even to have your characters, you have to have your world and your character breakdown. Like that's what I learned from him. And then this other stuff I drew from other people, like Scott McCloud, with the panels, transitions, and all of that. And then looking at comics and finding good paneling and all of that. I'm more of the get this whole package done and completed from start to finish. That's what my class is about, and I draw from sources. So
and he also asked, how do you get the trademark, the registered, like the copyright, so like the TM, the R, the C, like those symbols? Do you get them from somewhere, or do you draw them yourself, or is there a shortcut on the keyboard, or?
Yeah, the shortcut on the keyboard for copyright is open parentheses, C, and close parentheses, and it's supposed to make it on the computer. It doesn't necessarily do it on like an iPad or something, but it'll do it on the computer. But you can pull all of those in from transparencies, make a transparency out of anything that's, and sometimes it's already transparent. You can tell it's transparent because it has checks, like it has boxes behind it instead of a white thing, and you can pull it on. And even if it's got white, if you're putting the copyright on a white page, it's fine. Or you can draw it in. Any of those things work for it.
Okay. Anyone else? You could type your question in the little Q&A box there, or in the chat. I'm looking at both, so we could do that.
They'll get also one of the census PDFs.
Yes.
So they can be reminded to do it.
Do the census, that's right.
And they'll remember the lessons, hopefully, more with that. Because I took them through the whole process of that.
Where do you get the Copic markers? Okay,
Copics. Right now, you can probably, Copics are in art stores. They're, at Blick. You can get them from Amazon too. There's but they come in sets then. Blick, you can actually get each individual one. And they go like from $7 each to like, if you get a bunch of them, you can get them for $5 each. They're really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And you would get the brush tip and everything, but it depends. If you don't need as many then, almost like you can get the triad, I mean, light, medium, dark, to create those three-dimensional looks. But because you can blend colors more, you don't need as many. So you might be able to save on that. But like I said, Shuttle 88 off Amazon is $40 for almost 90 markers. It's like,
and how long do the Copic markers and the Shuttle 88, so how long individually do they last about?
It depends on how much you use them. The Shuttle 88 lasts, they're just solid markers that last kind of a long time for, like, they're bright, and the price, they're fluid, so they can kind of mix if you work quickly. Copics last a while too. The higher quality is, you can tell, if you're willing to go in on getting them, you should, but I'm just warning you about the costs, so you don't, you don't get sticker shock. They have like a set that's huge, that's like $240. So
and it's definitely not like, I know, I'm not sure if you mentioned it during this, or I think you did, you definitely did. But you were telling me yesterday, like, you drew like a lot of the beginning of the census comic with like a dollar store mechanical pencil, right? So it's definitely something to these like tools. Like I'm not an artist, but I like to do like video stuff, but it's kind of the same concept. Like you can use what you have to start and like set little goals for yourself to move up, you know, tech wise, but the, you know, the foundations are there. Just because you get more expensive tech doesn't increase your abilities. So to start and practice what you have is so crucial.
And Crayola works great. Crayola works great. It's just with the multiple colors, like you can add like, it's like the Shuttle 88 set gives you like so many greens that you have your grass green, you have your a green for the bushes, you have your green for the trees. It'll make it more dynamic, you know, like I because of the variety and the brightness, and it's a really good one if you're you know, people are ordering right now, so might as well get that. And yeah, this is probably not even 80 cents. This is one pencil, and I did the whole thing. I did all those like sketches and everything with it. And I didn't have to, I don't know, I even just used the eraser that was on this. It was yeah. I was like, oh yeah, you really don't have to go expensive, especially because you're scanning things in, and you're like, if you're doing it on the computer, you're gonna end up doing it on that. Or I would say if you're gonna go for anything, maybe the paper. Like maybe you don't necessarily have to get RendR, but like get a drawing pad. Actually, the dollar store drawing pad works well. It's just it's a little thin, so you can see through it. So if that bothers you, you know. But it could be fine. You just put another paper behind it. You can take pictures of it, scan, and put it online.
Yeah, I think that sometimes that's like the biggest hurdle, especially when you're getting started, is like you want all the nice stuff. You think that's gonna help, and it does in a sense, but you know, the foundation, the basic skills have to come from this starting, you know, and what you have.
It's your ideas that matter. It's your ideas, and it's the fact that you complete it. I completed the whole thing by doing the comic book page layout or doing like something like that. Anything that ties the whole thing together, gives you a start and a finish. That's what you do. You need to finish it and then put it up. Finish it, protect it, and share it. Okay?
All right, there we go. Finish, protect, share. All right, I put your email in the chat, so if anyone has any questions, they could email you at your Gmail, right? Is that okay?
Yeah, at my Gmail, anuannam@gmail.com. If they want the Instagram, it's anuannam so it's at ANUANNAM. And you know, there's adults on there. They have Facebook at anuannam Arts and Illustration is my fine arts. Anuannam Arts and Education, if they're looking for classes for themselves or kids or their kids. Of course, I'm at the library, free classes at the library. If you need private, we can work something out. Then there's also anuannam.art, which is my website. Okay.
All right. Well, great. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, huge thank you to Anu for doing this afternoon. I really appreciate it. I have no, you know, art abilities, but just watching you draw is like ASMR for my eyes. I love it. I could just sit there and just watch that happen. That was amazing. So, and hopefully everyone did, you know, learn something. And I think it's such a great foundation for now you guys to go out and start, you know, creating your characters and creating your worlds. So thank you again. And thank you, Anu. I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon.
Oh, definitely. love you guys there.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye. Bye.